Welcome to Ball and Chain Podcast. This is episode 160. I'm Max Born again. I have with me It's My Angel.
Hello.
What's happening?
I'm tired.
You're always tired. It's Tuesday, April 16th, 2013. Angel's tired, of course, but we've covered this last week. It's a late podcast, so...
It is, and I've worked all day and got little sleep last night. Stayed up way too late.
Well, now, whose fault would that be?
Lauren Oliver.
That bitch.
I know.
I don't know who that is.
She's the author of the book I was reading.
Oh, so that's so that's what you're going to be talking about this week. She's come prepared. She's read 3.5 books in a matter of 2 days.
2.5. There's a total of 3 in the series, so 2.5.
Okay, so we got a pretty big show for you guys this week. Well prepared, I guess you would say. We're going to be talking about what we've been playing, do a recap on Pixelation, which was this past Saturday. Angel's going to talk about her new book, her new series. I'm going to talk about...
Which will soon be my old book and series because I'll finish that.
Yeah, she bought the third one tonight, and she's probably, halfway through it already?
Not quite.
Oh, my God. I'm going to talk about BioShock Infinite. And then we'll do the wrap-up, and we'll call it... What's that?
A quarter of the way.
Your app tells you that?
Well, no, but I'm on... It says page 210 of 845.
Holy Jesus.
Well, but that's little pages. That's iPhone pages.
Oh, okay. I'm like, damn.
In real life, that would not be 845 page book. So
Jesus, you're reading the fucking Bible over here? What the hell?
I've read books that long. Harry Potter prints that long.
Good
Later
God.
ones.
Good God.
Longer, actually.
Anyway, so let's talk about what we've been playing. Actually, we'll both of them are going to go together. What we've been playing in Pixelation. We got some gaming in during Pixelation. Played some Rock Band. You and Ducky got in some Dance Central. We
did.
That's what you guys went downstairs while...
No, I said yes, we did.
Oh, I thought you said we did, ? I was like, I don't know. You're the ones that were playing it.
No, we did, period.
Even FaZe got in on the Dance Central, which I've never seen before and hope to never see again. No offense, FaZe, but I love you. Stick to Magic.
I think he was having fun.
Oh, yeah. Everyone has fun with it. It's one of those things where even if you're terrible at it, you still can have fun. I can't stand playing that game. Like, I feel like an idiot. I choose not to play it because of the ceiling, because I'm too close to the ceiling. We got to reposition the Kinect. I think lower it down closer to the TV. So
FaZe was having some of that issue.
Yeah, because we've got that I-beam that sits down just about 4 inches lower. So like if you're taller than 6 foot, it cuts off your head, and then if you do any type of up in the air arm movements with your hands, like it doesn't recognize them because you can see like the little picture of the video. When you raise your hands, all of a sudden your arms are gone. It's just like it's a clean cut. You're like, oh yeah, the I-beam's missing that. So, out of frustration, I don't step in front of that thing. Just because I know I'd be like, God damn it, now I've got to fix this because it's going to bug the shit out of me. But what else? So I got to play some Halo 4 again earlier this week. Got some games in with FaZe. Played some Duels of the Planeswalkers on the 360, which is the Magic digital version. Found an infinite loop in one of the blue decks. Basically, and it's kind of weird because this Duels of the Planeswalkers, none of these decks are standard. Like, they're playing with, like, some really old cards. The one enchantment you can cast, it gives all your spells, your instants, and sorceries rebound, which must have been an ability when I was on hiatus. But basically, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, your next turn during your upkeep, you can cast it again for free. And it says you may. I'm like, well, why wouldn't you? But at any rate, so like there's a couple there's like I think it's like a 3 or 4 card difference. One is take an extra turn after this one. So basically it's like Time Walk or whatever the hell it is. So, you have the enchantment in play, you cast that, and then there's a creature that goes along with it that's actually a standard creature that allows you to pull an instant or sorcery from your graveyard and put it back in your hand. So you're ultimately taking 3 turns in a row, during one of those 3 turns, bringing that card back to your hand, and then of course you have to find a way to bounce the creature. So, there's Unsummon, which is in there, so you can bounce it that way, which then allows you to cast that same creature again. Unsummon goes off next turn. It's like an endless cycle, and I was able to come back from a wicked 150, 160 point deficit. I was at 2, and Johnny was at like 155, and I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna win this game. But lo and behold, like this, I pulled this card, and I'm like, I've never seen this before. I'm like, I've got Time Walk in my hand. I've got a bounce in my hand. I return a creature. I'm like, just started going off, and like I finally was able to peck him down to, little by little. Unfortunately, it took forever, but I did it. So anyway, we talk about pixelation a little bit.
Okay.
How'd you do?
I went 2-2.
I went 2-2 as well.
2-2 too.
2-2-2. We had a pretty good turnout. There was 10 people there, so it was a lot of fun. I think we should have played 5 games. I think it might have been a little bit deeper. We had like a 4-way tie for, what was that, fifth place or whatever, fourth, 5th, and 6th. There was a 4-way tie. I'm like, man, maybe we should have played an extra one. But at any rate, the 2 games that I lost, the first one I got completely mana screwed.
I honestly don't remember what happened anymore.
Well, I
had
know
a couple glasses of wine. Maybe that's my problem.
And then you guys,
couple games.
Then you guys took a break. Like, hey, we're gonna be back. We're gonna get some wine. You're like, oh, okay. I wonder how long that's gonna take. But
it was quick.
Yeah, you guys were really quick.
We just went to the drive-through.
You guys were really quick, which was good. So we were kind of worried. So the games that I dropped. Let's see here. The first game, who did I play? I played Ducky first, I believe. So I beat Ducky. Second game I played Johnny. Yeah, I played Johnny. One against Johnny. And then the third game I played against Natalie, who Natalie beat me 2-0. The first game was hilarious. We were both having mana issues to the point where I could only get out 2 Arbor Elves, and the problem was I couldn't even use their flippin' ability because I had a dual land. Although it counted as a forest, it doesn't count as, like, it produces green land, but it doesn't count as a forest. And 2 Kessig Wolf runs, so I couldn't even use their ability to tap and untap and get that extra mana. So I got Natalie down to like 10 or 12 with 2 just attacking with the elves, which they're not supposed to do. And then she dropped out. What's the angel, Alora or Oliara or whatever the hell her name is.
I know it came out.
Yeah, after that came out, then it was game over. Second game it's the same thing, and I don't get it. Like the other 2 games that I played, or 4 games I played before that, I just trounced with mana. Like enough mana, like I didn't even have to use my Arbor Elves. Like it was ridiculous. Played against FaZe, lost the first one, won the second one, lost the third one, and then, yeah, wasn't all too bad. I'm glad I at least won 1 game against my brother. So
cool.
You said you played against, who did you play? You played against Chris. You played against Natalie, Jesse, and who else? Johnny. Okay. And you remember who'd you lose to? You lost to...
I lost the first 2.
You lost the first 2, so you lost to...
Johnny and Jesse.
Johnny and Jesse. Okay. Cool.
Yep.
Did you beat any games out of the 3? Because it was best of 3 match.
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Awesome. Spectacular. So at any rate...
it was a week ago. Well, no, it wasn't.
No, that was 4 days ago.
Like I said, I'm tired.
Anyway, making some great radio here.
Well, anyone we're talking about has no clue who these people are.
Well, no, I understand that, but okay. It was a lot of fun. We played some good Magic. There's a ton of good games. As far as winner goes, Nick did finish first with his control deck. He claims it's not control, but damn it all to hell, that is a control deck. Sending stuff back to your hand, sending stuff back to your graveyard, top of your library, dropping a Thragtusk here or there, and a couple different angels in there, some huntsmans. It's all kinds of bad. So we handed out some standard set booster packs. Then the winners are going to go home with some Dragon Maze boosters, what's that?
Once the boxes come in.
Once the boxes come in, this is true. Which I thought was this coming weekend. Apparently, it's not. I'm wrong. It's 2 weekends from now.
Well, that's the pre-release.
Oh, so
boxes don't even come in for like a week or so after that.
Oh
usually.
Man, we got a long.
It's not till like the beginning
of
May.
Damn, that sucks. I was kind of getting excited.
No, the boxes the set never drops
right.
at the pre-release.
That's right. The pre-releases, we'll get those cards, but okay, rock on. Anyway, okay, so Pixelation. The next one will definitely. I think we're gonna focus on like some first-person shooter or something like that. Maybe have a Call of Duty Black Ops 2 2v2 tournament. Could be kind of fun. We'll see. All right. So you want to talk about your new book?
Well, before long, it won't be a new book. It'll be my old book. But I don't even know what I was doing. Just looking for something to read, I guess, because it had been a while since I'd picked up a book. I was kind of like on a book binge there for a while, and kind of hit a slow point. But at any rate, had recently read the Divergent, the first 2 in the Divergent series. Love those. The third one is not yet released. And also read all 3 of the Matched series. They're all like dystopian, set in like a dystopian universe. Basically, kind of set in the future. The government is, most of all these types of books, government's kind of taken over. Things are really different. This particular one, I was looking for something similar. This particular book, the first in the trilogy, all 3 are currently out, by the way, by Lauren Oliver. The first one, oh shoot, and now you've asked me, and I'm my tired brain is not
holding it together.
No, Delirium. Delirium is the first book, and then Pandemonium and Requiem. Essentially, this series takes place, I assume, kind of in the future, but the United States has walled off all borders. All cities are within borders, and everyone is kind of issued almost like a serial number, an ID. Girls and boys have to stay totally segregated until they are 18 years old, at which point they can have the cure procedure done to them, to cure them from and I can't even remember what it's like, a more delirium something. At any rate, love is a sickness. It's the disease. It's the, what do they call it? The deadliest of all deadly things. And that's kind of coupled along with, because love is runs along with passion, and passion is also hand in hand with violence. And since I think the cure was supposed to have started about 60 years ago. Or 60 years ago from this, at the time of the book. Mm-hmm. Marriage rates are like now like only 1,000 couples in 60 years have divorced, like in the whole country. Murder rates are down. Suicide, all this stuff is down. The only thing that I guess that they publicize is that sometimes people get a little too detached, and have killed their children or whatever, just because they have no feeling toward them. But this book follows a girl, and for the life of me, Lena, that's right. Like I said, my brain is tired. Follows her starts out 90 days prior to her procedure date. And as you could guess, basically, I'm not really going to give anything away here, but you can pretty much guess what's going to happen. She's going to she's this very pure, excited to receive the cure and find out who she will marry, because that's based on like test scores and things. You're paired and matched and told what job you're gonna have, how many children, and all this. So, being the good little girl that she is, she's very excited for this when her best friend kind of starts to almost question things. And during her final examination, which would determine her list of potential husbands, a stampede occurs in the laboratory. A demonstration from sympathizers, people who sympathize with the invalids, or these uncured people who live in the wilds, who supposedly don't exist according to the government. They wiped them out, but they do. And things kind of start to go downhill from there. She meets a boy, and she starts, she gets the delirium, and it's really good. I'd be really interested to see it as a movie. I don't think it will, because all the books are out. It's been out for a while. I would think they'd have made it one already, but I think it would make a really good one, honestly, just because there is.
How old is this book? Do you know?
My battery's about to die. It's telling me I might want to plug in my computer here.
Because that also might change the fact, like, you've got these big name books turning into movies, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, Twilight, stuff like that. It kind of makes you
Divergent
wonder.
is actually in filming right now. The third book's not even out yet.
Okay.
Just for a little.
So it is becoming a movie.
No, Divergent.
Oh,
this is ICD-9 codes. I can tell you in a minute.
Okay. Well, at any rate.
But at any rate, I would highly recommend it. It's by Lauren Oliver. I like reading these types of novels because it's just interesting to see different ideas on what government.
The way you explain it, it sounds a lot like Equilibrium, which
I've never.
Right.
Seen.
It's a really sweet ass movie where it's kind of along the same lines. They're not really walling off anything, but there's like.
Oh wow.
Giving basically the human race as a whole gives themselves these injections, which cuts out any type of feeling, not just love, but like any type of feeling, any kind of emotion. Emotion is against the law.
This kind of does the same thing. It's basically a lobotomy. They take out part of your brain, and they don't dream. The cureds, like less than 5% of the population of cureds dreams anymore. They kind of just go through the motions of float through life. They do what they're supposed to. Things are civil. Things are nice. You don't argue with your husband because you really don't care that much about trivial things.
This is more like there's like an overlord that they're trying to overthrow, and one of the top police, I think they call them priests. I haven't seen the movie in a long time. I think they call them priests, but it's like the highest ranking officer you can get. He actually stops taking his injection or whatever, and his partner, he has to kill his partner, which kind of sets him in this motion of like, should I really be doing this? And then he stops taking this injections, and then that kind of he starts questioning the whole structure from the bottom up, and it's kind of kind of his tale of him coming to fruition.
And in these two, I'll go ahead and spoiler alert if you want to read the books.
Everyone dies.
Well, the end of the first book, the main girl, Alina, she escapes into the wild, but her love, Alex, the one who was originally from there, is caught. And you kind of don't know what you assume he's dead. The second book kind of shows her evolving, becoming, she says the old her died that night, and she's reborn in the wild. She's stronger. She's more sure of herself. She learns to hunt, and she was this kind of wallflower, very quiet, unsure of herself girl, and she really comes into her own in the second book, and starts standing up with the resistance. which is a group of the invalids, uncured people living in the wilds that pose. They sneak back into society across the borders. They know how to get through, and they pose. Comes to find out that the DFA, the Delirium Free America movement, which has gone national, is really working with another group of uncured people. It starts getting really political. Basically, the government is working with the people who they are against in order to make them look. There's a group called the Scavengers. Let's just call them that. They're another. It's hard to explain. They're like the invalids, but they
another faction.
Right, another faction. That's what I'm looking for. That they really kind of have no scruples. They kind of just do what they want, and they're getting paid off by the government to come in and make the uncured people seem like really evil. You know, they go around killing and looting and raiding, and that's the way the government shows. Look, this is what happens if we're not cured, if we're not protected. These people are evil, and when in reality that's not everybody, but that's what the government's using them kind of as a tool to instill fear in the public, and the rebellion kind of starts growing, dissension. The government finally, resistance picks up enough strength that the government finally has to concede and say, yes, we really didn't kill off all the invalids in the wild. They are out there, and they kind of post on a second strike, I guess, into the wilds, and that's where the third book picks up. The boy that she loved, Alex, returns. He escaped from the prisons. She's in love with another boy, and he's very hardened.
I imagine.
yeah. They tried to break him, tried to kill him, and he just wouldn't die.
Well,
he wanted to, but
all
he
these
wouldn't.
people in these prisons are people that aren't. They are feeling they didn't go with the lobotomy thing, right?
Some of them did, and they basically they have these prisons called the crypts, and they're underground, and they basically are just think of underground mine tunnels. Just you can't see hardly anything, and there's just bodies thrown down there, basically left to die.
Spirit.
Right. I mean, they're basically just thrown down there to die. And,
that's it. There's not guards or anything. They're just here's a hole.
Well,
throw them down there.
There's guards and there's security codes, but there's different levels of But most of these people, they're sympathizers, people who they've found to be helping out the resistance.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
There's people who maybe they had the procedure done too early, and it can kind of mess with you're too young. They're taking out part of your brain. And some people, it makes them go crazy. So people who are mad, they run across in the second book. They end up hiding from. They end up kidnapped and end up in the sewers where they find all these. I forget the term for them. They had a name too, but it's a faction of people living in the sewers. Futurama style that had birth defects. All the people who are, because this society.
So the people that are throwing in these tunnels are reproducing and.
Well, but they were, and this isn't the prison. This is a totally different, in the sewers, just a group of people who, babies born with birth defects or something are sent down there because this society craves consistency and perfection, and everything is structured in its place. And if someone's got any kind of abnormality, they're going to be killed, or their parents can kind of throw them down to be cared for by these people in the sewers.
Huh.
So it really is interesting. It just, I don't know. Right. I'm in a spot right now.
We'll have to watch Equilibrium. What do they, just from that movie standpoint, do they talk anything about artwork or music or anything like that in this book? Because artwork and in music and stuff like that can make you feel emotion, feel love.
It's highly regulated.
Oh, really?
There's
lots of censorship.
I think the LAMM is, I forget what it stands for, but that's their radio station. They only have certain songs. None of the songs talk about love. That's totally outlawed. A lot of literature, poetry is outlawed. There's the approved books. The books from before had been banned. People in the wilds, there are people who have it and can get access to it, but it's highly structured. it's actually kind of funny because one of the questions that they ask Lena in her evaluations in the very beginning of the first book is what is, what do you like to do in your free time? And one of the things she liked to do is read. So they asked her what her favorite book was.
Oh God.
And they asked, and at this point she is a very willing sheep going to slaughter. Essentially, they actually, and she mentions Romeo and Juliet,
Oh.
which is it's a cautionary tale.
Right.
It's in this they say it's a cautionary tale because love makes them. They had the delirium. They kill each other off. A perfect example of why love is a terrible, terrible sickness. So they use Romeo and Juliet not as a beautiful love story, but as a cautionary tale against love.
Right.
But in her response, when they asked why she liked that, she didn't use the response that she should have given
She didn't tell them what they wanted to hear. She told them how
she told
really
them
felt.
it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
And they looked at her like she had grown 5 heads.
Yucks. That's not good.
And that was kind of the beginning of some of her downfalls, but
Interesting.
it is interesting seeing things from there's a lot of biblical references. Religion is not they call them the old religions. So the religions we know now would be considered the old religions because they're bad because they stress love. But they still use a lot of the same. One of the Bible stories they were talking in there was about Solomon. They still use some of the old Bible stories, but they twist them and put their own spins on them to use them against love, which is it's interesting reading it in that kind of a light.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll have to watch Equilibrium. Tell me if because I can from what you're explaining and from what I've seen, like there's a lot of connections there. I think it would be kind of neat, like not necessarily like storyline wise, but like kind of same premise.
And your question earlier on when it was released, the first book was originally released in February 7th, 2012. So only a year ago, she's put out 3 books. She probably wrote them all back to back.
Well, this can still come to a theater screen, no doubt in my mind. I'm sure they're already in cahoots. If you IMDb it, I'm sure there's something up there. But you only got like 9% battery left, so tread carefully. Although it's a brand new computer, so 9% should last you, 2 hours?
No.
I'm just kidding. All right, cool. Anything else you want to add before we switch over to...
I think I'm about all talked out.
Talked out? Okay. Well, I'm going to talk about some BioShock Infinite, which is... there's a lot of political involvement in this game as well. This is the 3rd game in the BioShock series not to be a sequel, but this is kind of like catty corner to like what makes a BioShock a BioShock. It's a first-person shooter game with light RPG elements. It's along the exact same the same premise as the first and second BioShock. Only this time it's like 1912. You've got a group of elitists and people that are trying to perfect the human race. Basically, bring the best of the best up to the sky world, which is you can only get to through certain locations. The episode starts off like it's uncanny because the first thing that I was thinking when I started playing this game, because I'm borrowing it from a friend on the PS3, and he must have pre-ordered it or whatever, because when you pre-order it, you get the first BioShock. And the way this one starts off is the exact same way the other one starts off. Granted, there's no like plane crash or anything like that, but you're brought to a lighthouse, and that in BioShock 1 you descend into Rapture. This has got ascending into Columbia, where the opening cinematic is just gorgeous. The very beginning, after you've ascended into Rapture, or excuse me, after you ascended in Columbia, you are baptized, and it's really you're walking through this huge temple. There's water everywhere, so it still has that BioShock feel, and you could definitely tell that they want people to still feel like, hey, this is still BioShock, and this is still we've taken care of your baby. There's water everywhere. You're walking down the steps, and there's just waterfalls down the steps or whatever. Candles are written all over the place. There's monk singing in the background. I mean, it's very methodical. It's very soothing. And you're walking through this temple, and you walk up, and there's like a preacher all the way in the back, and there's a crowd. You walk up, you press X to enter into the crowd, and that sets off the first cinematic, where the preacher singles you out, saying, "Hey, we have a newcomer. Come forward, get baptized." And your character says, "Your your power cord's over there by the TV."
When you're ready, I've got some news for you.
Okay, go ahead and interrupt. Go for it.
I'm sorry. So, as of March 1st, 2013, so relatively recent news, Fox has picked up Delirium as a television show.
Interesting.
They're casting it. They've picked up for a pilot, so we'll see if it actually makes it past the pilot. But they are still they're announcing who's being cast in the roles now. Actually,
That's
so
cool. That's
exciting.
cool.
Sorry, just learned that little tidbit.
But anyway, as you're walking through this temple church thing, you walk into this ceremony and you actually get baptized or whatever, and the preacher dunks you twice, and then you go into this weird like hallucination type of thing, and you open like basically this is like your dead state or whatever, and you open up this door and you're actually in Colombia. So like you lost consciousness and you come back to reality, and you're walking through Colombia. It's 1912, so there's a lot of racism. There's a lot of religious persecution going on, especially in the sense that the people that created this world are high and mighty. They pretty much think of themselves as gods, and shit pretty much turns hits the fan like right off the bat. You're just like in the first BioShocks, you're getting plasmids, but they call them vigors. You get like 3 or 4 of them right off the bat, which I felt, I don't know, like I like that idea because you're getting more abilities right off the bat, and you've got more, a bigger arsenal as far as weapons go. You can only carry 2 at a time. Now, well, as soon as I figured that out, I was like, oh well, this is garbage. I'm not really enjoying this. But the weapon drops are a little bit more often. You pick up more ammunition, throughout the game, and you can pick up weapons from enemies, which is, a lot is, okay, I've got no ammo for my shotgun. This dude just dropped a missile launcher, or this guy just dropped a submachine gun. You just switch them out. You find myself switching weapons and really not leveling up my weapons as much, just, leveling up my vigors, to really do the damage. The one that I've enjoyed the most so far that, is new to me, is the ability to spawn a whole bunch of crows that come out of your hand, and it basically acts as like a deterrent to the enemies around you. That's pretty sweet. There's one that you can control. You can basically friendly an evil robot, which you can then level up to friendly a human being, which after they get finished shooting your enemies, they take their own life. And I witnessed this firsthand. This dude was running around with a shotgun, and after my spell started to wear off, he put the gun to his his chin, just pulled the trigger, just blew his head off. And I'm like, oh, it's pretty violent. I'm not gonna get too much into the story just because I have just started. And plus, right off the bat, there's a huge spoiler, and I don't want, you make a pretty big decision. I made the decision that I would probably make in real life. I would.
Did you go evil route or good route?
No, I went good route. I went the good route because I couldn't bring myself to do this. Like there was a stage, and there was 2 people, and they weren't the same, and you could either choose to do one thing to them or one thing to the other person that was holding them prisoner. And obviously, I chose to do towards the captive, to the guard. I chose to do harm to him. But there was there was some bad stuff about to go down. I'm not sure what would have happened or if they would have actually gone through with it. But the interesting thing is, since I spared their life, they do come back. That couple did come back, and later on in the game, like about a half hour, 45 minutes later, did come back. I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. I wonder what happens if I chose otherwise, if they'd be standing there with a gun, or if they'd still be alive, even. But it's definitely got the BioShock feel. it's been a long time since I played BioShock, and I'm really enjoying this one. I hate the PlayStation 3 controller though. I absolutely hate it. It's so bad that I was looking while you were at Walmart today. I was looking up PlayStation 3 controllers that like have the joystick switched, like an Xbox controller. I found a couple that I might want to try if I can find them, but or just pick up the game for Xbox. So, but I'm really enjoying it. There's no multiplayer, which is fine by me because I really did enjoy the multiplayer on BioShock 2.
Right.
I'm about a quarter of the way. About a quarter, third of the way done with this one. You're searching for a girl named Elizabeth who's been captured for most of her life. I've actually found her. We were making our way to Paris, quote unquote Paris, but that quickly goes to hell. Very quickly, and now
Did you figure out what's up with her gimpy thimble finger?
No, I haven't figured that out. That's the other thing that's really sweet. She's got like a gimped finger, and then like there's something that happens as we're departing, where I make a decision, and based on that decision, my character was injured and is now injured for the rest of the game.
That sucks.
It's awesome. I'm like, that's really cool. Like, it's not like
Isn't that hard though?
it's not like it's not game changing. Like it'd be sweet. Like if I broke a foot or broke a leg or something like that,
Walk
where
slower.
like I walk slower, or there's like a gimp in my, I don't aim right if I'm walking and firing or whatever. That would be kind of sweet. But this is, there's a constant reminder because every time I do a certain motion or every time I'm in a cutscene or whatever, like I can see that. I think my one complaint about this game, and it's been across all the BioShocks, and I didn't think about it in the first two, which is kind of weird because it's very water based anyway. So like this is but in this one, it's almost so abundantly clear that they want you to look in the reflections of water and glass and mirrors and shit like that. Like everything has this really crisp reflection. But you have no character model whatsoever. So if you look down, you have no feet. But if you look down and there's like you're in a puddle of water, you can see like this, whatever's in front of you. And I'm like, okay, clearly you want me looking at this because you wouldn't have rendered it otherwise. Give me some legs. It just breaks reality because I look down, I'm like, oh,
That is weird.
I'm a floating camera. Like that's like my biggest complaint. If they could, if they can get anything right, that would be my and I know it's stupid as hell, but it's one of those things where, I'm walking up and that's what, like when I first walked into the lighthouse, you walk in and there's this basin of water, holy water, and it says there's a thing written on the wall in scripture saying something like, wash your face clean, or wash your face clean, and I will wash away your sins, or something like that. And like you walk in and it says, I shall wash away your sins, or something like in the reflection of the water, which is on the wall. I'm like, oh, clearly you want me to look at this. Like they're not just, it's not just by accident or just by the way I'm standing that they're making this stuff available, like readable to me. It's like the player's going to walk up here. We want them to be able to read this. So make that reflective. Give me a body. Give me some legs. I mean, I've got two. I guess I do have floating arms because I can see my hands and shit like that. But it's just
floating torso.
Yeah, not even that. Like I don't even think I have a torso. I just got like forearms and fingers.
Can you see yourself in cutscenes?
There hasn't been a cutscene where I've been a part, like third
from the
person.
Third party.
Yeah, it's all first person.
Okay.
Tell you what though, like it was really freaky. They've been watching, like Elizabeth has been in like this sanctuary kind of thing where people can actually watch her, like her bedroom and shit like that. I'm like, that's really weird. Like this is fucked up. Not to mention the racism that goes on in the very beginning of the game. That's fucked up too, but
new Hunger Games trailer.
Oh God. Anyway,
you like Hunger Games.
I do. So this is a really sweet ass game. Contender for Game of the Year? Hell yeah, definitely. Just the scenery is amazing. Like walking up to the edge of a building and just looking off, and there's just nothing, and then you see a building just float up because everything's on like these either giant
Clouds.
propellers or they're like jet engines, which I don't know where they get their fuel from because there's no fossil fuel up in the air, but that's beside the point. Or there's they call these zealot things, they're giant balloon things that lift them up or whatever. But it's really sweet. There's some like it's kind of janky how it works, but that would be my second. This is my second complaint. I know I said game of the year, but this is my second complaint. The way that the people get around the world is like on these like they're kind of like almost like monorails, almost, I guess, like trains. They hang from the tracks or whatever, and you have like you get this contraption that you can attach yourself to one of the rails and fly around the rails or whatever. Problem with this is they don't want you to have 100% freedom to go wherever the hell you want. They still want it to be a linear game to where they can control you. So how do they stop you from continuing on too far? They stop a car, where you need to get off. So this is me whipping around this flipping map or whatever, and you can kind of jump ahead to increase your speed or whatever. Like if you've got like an angle to where you can see the track ahead, you can jump off and like use gravity to propel yourself faster. But you come ripping around these corners and there's a train in front of you, just stop. Nothing. Just stop. I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of like running into an invisible wall, on the original Xbox games. Like when they're like, oh, I don't want you to go over here. Here's an invisible wall. You can't go any further. Or like in World of Warcraft where they just make an edge too steep where you can't crawl up it. But this is just like a flat wall. I don't know. It's just really weird. But, other than those two complaints, it's a lot of fun. Story's interesting. It's very risky type of subject matter. I mean, you can... they get away with it because they're very classy. They're very professional about it, and they take the game seriously. It's like it is what it is. This is if the storyline were true, this in that timeline, that's what was going down at that time. So there's really, you can't really say too much about the subject matter, but it's it's definitely a great game. I look forward to finishing it. So. And like I said on 2 podcasts ago, if I didn't finish Dead Space before I started this game, I probably wouldn't be going back to it. So I'll probably end up finishing BioShock first. But it's awesome. Awesome. Anyway, so that's BioShock Infinite. I'm going to wrap this show up and call it a day.
I can barely keep my eyes open.
All right, guys. Well, that was episode 160. Hit the big 160. Big 16. Anyway, we'll be back next Tuesday, 10 o'clock. Ball and Chain Podcast .com/podbean, or excuse me, Ball and Chain Podcast .podbean.com is the website where you can go ahead and download our video or download our MP3s or stream them, right from your device. YouTube.com/BC Podcast. Or you can watch us live.
Can sit here and watch me yawn.
You can sit here or you can sit here and watch Angel yawn every day or every Tuesday live on
it's exciting.
YouTube.com/BC Podcast channel /UP whatever blah blah blah. You can find us. Just search Ball and Chain Podcast. But yeah, that's our show, and I'm sticking to it. We'll be back next week. I'm not sure what we'll talk about next week.
Who knows?
Oh, wait. No, not pre-release.
No.
Damn it, not pre-release. Next.
Yeah.
Episode 162, we will be talking about pre-release. I'm pumped. There was a new enchantment that I'm totally stoked for. Completely randomized card. It's a red enchantment. Whenever you cast a spell, you exile that spell and reveal the top cards off your library until you find a spell of the same type. So if you cast a creature, you exile that creature, and off the top of your library, you exile cards until you get to another creature, and put that creature into play. So it's extremely interesting. I'm really looking forward to it. It can really fuck up some people's abilities, and Angel's hanging up her headset. So
I can't handle anymore. I'm
think
sorry.
that's the
I've hit my
episode.
brick wall.
Brick wall has
Speaking
hit.
of invisible walls.
Good segue. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.
Good night.